Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira took place last night in Nashville, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in Nashville. Does the city matter? Not really. But it was a really good card from the start to the finish. We had a few boring fights and a lot of really good finishes. We're starting off with Fatima Klein. Um, I gotta be honest, didn't pay attention to round one. I was still trying to get everything set up for the stream that failed miserably because my OBS was running at like 60% of my CPU. She outstruck her, were comfortable in the pocket and at range. Martinez had a few counters in the fight, but apart from that, Klein never feared anything that was thrown at her, and the finish was fainting a jab, left high kick, put Martinez out cold, and it was a really impressive performance. I picked her to win just because I felt she was better on the feet, more well-rounded, and she absolutely proved that she was better on the feet. Good win for Fatima Klein. Really good finish to start the card. Then we move on to Mike Davis. Um, Dude, this was an incredible fight. Davis instantly got Ramirez down at the start and went for a rear naked choke and just dominated him in the grappling the entire round one. They were saying that it should be a 10-8, but personally, I don't think it should have been a 10-8. Um, like, again, I want to save 10-8s and 10-7s for damage. That's the number one criteria for judging fights: damage, pressure, and then grappling. Um, but Ramirez in round two started throwing bombs, big three hook combination at the start of the round, and he did work his way into the second round a bit, and then Davis picked it up at the end of round two, lands a flying knee, rips hooks to the head and body, till Ramirez collapsed against the cage, and it was an unbelievable finish. I was losing my mind. I thought that Mike Davis he looked good throughout the entire fight. And yeah, I love flying knees. Who doesn't? And again, working the body. I feel that working the body is something that a lot of fighters don't put enough time into, because again, you rip to the rib cage, you're going at the lungs, you're making it hard for them to shoot on you, and that's exactly what Mike Davis did. Really good win for him. We move on to Walter Walker, the brother of Johnny Walker, and man, this guy instantly blitzed Kennedy, smashed him on the feet, and then gets his back against the cage, rolls under into a knee bar, and gets it. Really, really good submission. Um, especially at this was heavyweight, right? I'm gonna double. Yeah, it was heavyweight. Especially for heavyweight, we see a lot of grapplers now. We got Blades, Big, and all that. And, you know, I feel like the heavyweight division, now that Tomlin's the champion, we're actually going to see the UFC put effort into heavyweight matchmaking. Hopefully they do, because you look at the top 15 now, and you're like, how the fuck did anybody make it into the rankings here? Apart from Tom, Gunn, Volkov, Blades, who's been in the top five basically for the last half decade. But yeah, really good performance on him. For Kennedy and Yakua. Uh, Tough loss, but I mean, I feel like he's meant to be in heavyweight. I feel Kennedy looks really good in heavyweight, and with the right adjustments, I feel he could do very good, like he was in his previous fights at heavyweight. We then move on to Eduardo Mora versus uh, Murphy. Um, so Warren Murphy, we all know, veteran of the sport, fought Shevchenko for the title. I had to make sure I had the right name. Um, where is it? Yeah, Warren Murphy. So we got some jabs at the start. Murphy lands and takes Mora down, gets reversed. Mora ends up on top. And then for the rest of the round, Murphy was getting picked apart on the feet. And Eduardo Mora looked really good. Uh, then round two, Murphy had no output. It was non-existent. She was just throwing a jab from time to time. No mixing up combinations. No mixing up the strikes. Murphy then landed a few elbows, defending, I believe, against the cage. But, or no, I was on the ground, sorry. Murphy got a guillotine choke that she held for a decent amount of time. Didn't get it, but she won 29-28 on all judges' scorecards. Really, it was honestly only the second round that Murphy had really shown anything to know. And it looked like she was somewhat getting back into the fight. But again, more with, you know, the the youth, the speed, and I feel like she has better fundamentals than Murphy. Murphy again, she had her career. She, had a lot of amazing wins, a lot of really close fights. I think Eduardo Mora, it's her time. Not saying she's gonna become a champion, but again, we see a lot of these veterans retire and then come back and fight these up and comers, and 90% of the time it does not go well, unless your name is Jose Aldo and you aren't held against a fence for 50 minutes. But good win for Mora. Really good win to have on your record as you're moving up in the rankings. We move on to Jake Matthews versus Chidi Njoku. This was a fight that I have wanted quite some time. Now, I'm not going to say I'm the biggest Jake Matthews fan, but I do like him. I really do like him. He's a veteran. He has a very well-rounded set of skills. Um, Chitty was in the same position to a 3-fight win streak, looking to make a run. Chitty opened up with spamming body kicks to the body that was effective. He got the range, but Jake was able to find the back off of a foot sweep and got the rear naked choke instantly. Um, yeah, I. This is a really amazing performance from Jake Masters. I kind of thought that Chitty and Joe Kalani was going to win this. I thought that maybe Matthews can get it down a little bit, but overall, Chitty could um, stop the takedowns, has more power, and I thought he would win by decision. I think I went with a decision or a late round TKO. I forgot. Um, but no, this was a very impressive performance. He was a top 15 contender. He called out Gilbert Burns. And honestly, for a guy like this going on a run, he's been in the UFC since 18. Now I believe he's 31, 32, 33, around there. So he's trying, I feel like this is going to be the proper Jake Matthews run. Once again, I'm not saying he's going to make it to the title, but I really do think Jake, with his talents, can, get into the rankings for a little bit and have a few fights in the top 15. But yeah, I was really really impressed by his performance last night. Really impressed with our naked choke. Then we move on to Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin. Chris Curtis wins by unanimous decision. Curtis walked down Griffin in the first round, but I don't know whether it was two buts. There was no output. Griffin then lands a low blow on Curtis. Pretty heavy low blow, two of it straight to the cup. Clash of heads, and then exchange right after that stoppage. We got two stoppages. And then Curtis found his shots right, or landed some big shots to the end to try and really damage Griffin. I thought he won the. I thought it was a tricky first round. I thought he won the end of the first, but I thought Griffin was doing a good job at range, just picking his shots. And then Max found the jab, but Curtis dropped him with his power in the second. And he was able to fight his way back into this fight. We'll output round three from both of them until halfway. Then they started going at each other. We had a lot of good combinations on the feet. Curtis trips him and laughs at him. But yeah, I when you take out that first round, the second and third rounds in this fight were incredible. And Chris Curtis winning again once again in 170. I think he looks better in 170. I know that he knocked out Buckley at 185. Boy, he's a smaller guy. I feel he has a ton of power. Again, he knocked out Buckley, and he's 37, so I feel best case scenario for Chris Curtis is maybe he goes on a little run and gets the Gilbert Burns style fights that Matthews wants, or gets a Wonderboy Thompson like fight. We're gonna get to Wonderboy in a second. Um, but yeah, I think he should stay at 170. I think he looks really good at 170. And it's a good place to end Andrew's career compared to middleweight, which middleweight is slowly getting up there again. We have a lot of really good contenders. We obviously have DDP versus Hamzat next month. I think it's a better move for Chris Curtis being 170. But yeah, it was the third half. If you look at half of the third round, this is an incredible fight. Second and first, kind of low output, but yeah, you had the moments there. Then we move on to Turcos. Now, he was fighting Junior Tafa. And the one thing I said in my prediction, if Tuco can out grapple him, Tafa has no chance. And I was basically right. First round, Tuco was out grapple Tafa. Tafa had a reversal but went nowhere. Found nowhere. Found immediate success in the grappling. Four takedowns in the first round. Um, we moved into the second. Got him down once again. Walked in the arm triangle, and got it. I know, I know that the Taffa brothers are big stars. They bring in the money, but they this is a light heavyweight, right? And they just they have power. They can knock you out. But what else do they have? What else are you looking for at the top for brothers and be like, that, that transition, that clinch move? you know, it's just big shots. But 2 count, 1 second arm triangle. Basically, what I thought would happen. Yeah, Toffa went nowhere. Whatever. Moving on to the next slide. That doesn't have any spelling mistakes. Vitor Petrino moving up to heavyweight. And he got Austin Wayne out there pretty quick. He landed another takedown. Got to full mount. Did a little bit of work there, threatening submissions. Not many strikes until he ended up on Wayne's back. Got the arm under the neck, submitted him in the first round. And Petrino was an interesting one. Petrino was an interesting fighter because when, he got big, he came into the UFC, he was on a major tear, knocking out everybody. And then he ran into, was it Dustin Jacoby? No, Dustin Jacoby was the last fight. I think he ran into Anthony Smith. Oh, yeah, Anthony Smith got submitted. And then he got knocked out by Dustin Jacoby. I like him moving up to heavyweight. This is another one of those cases where when a fighter doesn't work out in light heavyweight, put on an extra 20 or 30 pounds, move up to heavyweight, and you can be a ranked contender. Because the barrier to entry to the top of heavyweight right now is very, very minuscule compared to light heavyweight, compared to middleweight. Um, but I don't know. We'll have to see what comes from his career. We move on to Morgan Shire versus Nate Landwehr. This was a fun fight. I'm a big Nate the Train fan. I'm gonna bring this up here. Nate the Train is one of my favorite fighters, and this fight hurt me. Morgan Shire instantly destroyed Nate's calf early. Landed a lot of clean shots, and just looked like the better technical fighter by a mile. We know what we're getting with Nate, but Nate was able to defend most takedowns. Wasn't really held down much, but over the first and second, it was Nate blitzing for a few combinations, but over the course of the round, Morgan Shire using the leg kicks, using the body kicks, jabbing from range. And then we go into the third, where the end sequence starts. Big right, followed by a massive left, folded Nate Landwehr. Brutal knockout. It hurt me. It hurt me. Like I said, I really like Nate Landwehr. Nate Landwehr is one of my favorite fighters currently on the roster. I know he won't be around for longer. Morgan Shire, I believe, is on like a pretty big win streak here. I can just look it up on my phone, I guess. Morgan Shire, where was it? Yeah, he is on. This is how you're supposed to use. No, he lost to Nathaniel Wood. Well, before that, beat Gabriel Miranda and Manuel Zucchini. But this is a really fun fight. Any fight that Nate Landwehr is in, it's going to be an entertaining fight. But yeah, really good win. Folded Nate Landwehr with that big right. And yeah, we then move on to Steve Garcia winning by unanimous decision. The knockout streak is over, but he definitely was going for the kill majority of this fight. Garcia put the pressure on Cater majority of the fight, cut Cater between the eyebrows early on. I believe that was in the first round. And then Cater had a good second round. until his nose got busted. And then Garcia was just chasing him down, landing the jab consistently, going for big power combinations. And especially in the last minute, he was really trying to get Indicator's face. I thought I thought he was going to be able to finish Cater with where Cater is at in his career. For what I expected from Calvin Cater in this fight, I was impressed. I was impressed with that second round. Um, but Steve Garcia, this is now what a 6 fight win streak, something like that, looking incredible, and looks like a scary fight for a lot of people in the 145-pound division. Next, you go to Gabriel Von Fame, who does. Okay, hold on. None of this is happening. Okay, so weird. Um, Gabriel Bonfim, split decision. Thompson at the start of the fight moved well. I really like what Stephen Thompson did in the first, defended takedowns and even reverse positions. We know that Thompson is hard to take down. Um, but again, the first round really impressed me. Bonfim won the second with consistent pressure, shooting for the takedowns, landing the combination. And screw it. For editing, I'm editing. Um, there we go. Gosh. Um, but well, back to the fight. Gabriel Bonfim, the pressure, the way he was mixing in the shoots off of his combinations, was really good. And then Major Gash opens up on Wonderboy'S leg. Thompson did outstrike Bonfim in the second and the third. And I believe the one of the no, not one. I believe one of the judges gave him the third. Um, one I think one gave him the second. You know how the judging is, but Thompson looked good. I was really impressed by how he looked. But now he's on what? A 3 fight win streak. He's 1-5 in his last six. He didn't retire. He wants to stick around. Like, he's still being competitive. He was competitive in the Buckley fight before Buckley knocked him out. He was, you know, he was competitive and I'm blanking his name. Uh, he was competitive in the shop fight until the submission. But again, that shop got. And then obviously he knocked out Kevin Owens in 2022. Von Fiend, though, he's up and coming, really good grappler. He will probably be a very, very difficult test for 170. And it kind of went how I thought it would. I was hoping it would go to a decision. I don't want to see Wonderboy lose once again by knockout. I hope he retires, so I really do. I think that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson had an had an incredible career as I'm dying. Um, but again, I feel like he held on too long. He's in his 40s. He's being finished. yeah, I wasn't finished in this fight. Go on, go do your YouTube channel, Wonderboy. Go do your podcast. Go do media. You can make a lot more money outside the stage because you genuinely are one of the smartest fighters I've ever seen. One of the most articulate fighters I've ever seen. But good run for Bombrim getting the split decision. We then move on to the main event. Derrick Lewis, first round knockout over Tallison Teixeira. Derrick Lewis, the moment he got in that cage, you already know he won that fight. Like, there's just the aura around Derrick Lewis, and it's not like Alex Pereira. But when you see him get in there, and he is just staring straight at his opponent, you know that one of them is going to kill or be killed. Um, but yeah, he came in ready, got eye poked instantly to start the fight. But right hook, fight is over. Teixeira protests the stoppage, but again, if Derek Lewis continued to smash his face into the ground, yeah, there was no way he could have recovered. I know he recovered after the stoppage. We can have our discussion about when referees should stop fights, but again, he wasn't defending, he was getting smashed, and this is Derek Lewis 15, 16 knockouts. And in Derek Lewis fashion, takes his shorts off after fake pissing on Tallison's corner, which was hilarious. Um, but on the mic, talked about making love to his wife, wants Tom Aspinall. Now, here's the thing with Derek Lewis getting a title shot, and since I already ruined the illusion of the slides, we're just gonna go over to his topology. Why not? Um, so 2010 in the UFC, 0-1 in Bellator. You look at him lately, fuck off with your canceled fights. Uh, he's on a 2-fight win streak. First round, Tallison Teixeira. Second or third round, Nash Commando knockout from ground and pound. Jolton Almeida lost a unanimous decision, but Almeida seems to be the guy who will fight for the title next if it's not still gone. He beat Marcus Rozier de Lima, and then it was this little stretch right here. Uh, got KO'd by Gon in the third round. That was for the interim belt. KO Chris Dawkins. Got KO'd by Tai Tuivasa. Sergey Pavlovich on his run, but he was running through the entire division before running into Francis. And then Sergey Vivek submitted him. Now, obviously, if this were any fighter, right, he would have to work his way up. He would need to go on like a 3, 4, 5 fight win streak. I really only think he needs. I think that Derek Lewis only needs 2 wins because you have to work in it this way, right? Heavyweight sucks. There is no big names. There's a lot of good fighters, no big names. Gon, I guess, is a decent name. Volkov isn't really a name. Um, Curtis Blades, he's somewhat of a name, maybe a hardcore name though. But yeah, I feel like, especially for Tom Aspinall, right? New champion. He's been inactive since, summer of last year. I know they said that his next fight is coming up. Um, I'm not saying that Derek Lewis should get the next title shot. However, I'm saying I really do think he could be the second or third title defense. You gotta look at the UFC as a business. This is no longer MMA where you have to fight your way up, where it's is purely about what's inside the cage. It's about what makes money, what is promotable. And Derrick Lewis versus Tom Aspinall is promotable. Even though it makes no sense, it's promotable. And with the fact that Tom Aspinall has beaten everybody else but Gone, Lewis, and Almeida. Those are the three names he needs to clear out the heavyweight division. And if he does that, we're on, he would tie Stipe Miocic. And we'd probably already be having the discussion about Tom Aspinall being the greatest heavyweight of all time and surpassing Stipe Miocic at what, 31, 32, 33. Um, but yeah, that's what I thought about the fight. Again, in my fashion, tons of spelling mistakes, shit not saving onto the slides. But all in all, it was a fun card, apart from the Mercy fight and I forgot the other one. But let me know in the comments down below. What did you think about last night's fight? Who impressed you the most? And what do you think is next for Derrick Lewis? Do you think Derrick Lewis can get a title shot if he beats, I don't know, say like, has he fought Blades yet? Blades. Hey, he did beat Blades. I mean, 6 foot Wednesday. I know it'll be a big jump up. Maybe the Blades rematch is next. But let me know what you think down below. That's what I got. Wait.